Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are not just back in the headlines, they're testing the public's patience. The reported proposal is extraordinary in its simplicity and tone deafness. They will finally vacate Royal Lodge, the 30-room mansion in Windsor Great Park, but only if they're each given a replacement home. He wants Frogmore Cottage, formerly used by the Sussexes, and she wants Adelaide Cottage, the home of the Prince of Wales, until their move to Forest Lodge. It's a bit rich to expect the King, and by extension the Crown Estate, to accommodate both of them. The optics alone would curdle milk. Set the scene. This 17th of October, Andrew announced he would no longer use his titles and honours, acknowledging that ongoing accusations around Jeffrey Epstein distract from the work of the Crown. And then today the King was publicly heckled outside Lichfield Cathedral about what he knew of Andrew and Epstein's ties. Charles ignored the questions, and the crowd drowned the protester out with cheers, but the moment captured the mood. Public indulgences thinned to a thread. And the property facts matter. Andrew has held a 75-year lease on Royal Lodge since 2003. He paid around £1 million for the lease and committed to approximately £7.5 million of renovations. The annual rent is the notorious peppercorn, one peppercorn if demanded, and the lease runs until 2078. The Public Accounts Committee has now written to the Crown Estate and the Treasury about the arrangement, legally robust perhaps, politically combustible certainly. Parliament is stirring. The government has declined to allocate time, but the Lib Dems are exploring an opposition day debate to examine Andrew's conduct, his lease, and even his styling. However that lands, mere talk of a Commons debate underscores how far this has moved from family embarrassment to a question of public standards. Now, to the proposed solution. Reports suggest a two-house fix that places Andrew at Frogmore and Sarah at Adelaide, both within Windsor's security perimeter. The pitch is that neither requires new taxpayer-funded works, and that proximity allows the family to remain close. Yet this is precisely the problem. It keeps both Yorks at the very heart of royal visibility, near the castle, near the Waleses, sustaining the sense of privilege without duty that has so damaged public trust. It also blurs the line between private tenancy rights and public grace and favour symbolism. The backdrop is darker still. Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir has reopened allegations that Andrew has always denied, and reporting today shows the King absorbing the political heat that radiates from his brother. The longer the housing wrangle drags on, the more it anchors that narrative to the monarch's doorstep. And that should what should happen now, and what should not? Well, first, no one for two, no two for one. A negotiated exit from Royal Lodge can be squared with the lease's legalities without conjuring two separate royal estate homes. If the Crown Estate chooses to rehouse Andrew at all, one modest property on a normal commercial rent is the outer limit. There's no public case for a parallel residence for his former spouse. The monarchy has to demonstrate that consequences are real, not theatrical. Second, distance matters. The central Windsor cluster is symbolically loaded. Any relocation that keeps Andrew at the heart of the pageant will look like impunity. If the aim is to reduce the institution's exposure, proximity is the enemy. The reported Frogmore plan does the opposite. Third, transparency beats whispering. The Public Accounts Committee is already engaged. The Crown Estate should proactively publish a simple statement, lease terms, rental basis for a new tenancy, and confirmation that no public funds will underwrite refurbishments or security beyond standard perimeter measures. The royal household should resist the instinct to manage this by silence and surrogates. A sparse, factual note is better than a month of leaks. Fourth, time is not neutral. Today's heckling will not be the last. The more this story cohabits with set-piece royal events, the more it frames the reign. Tidying the York question before the Wales' reported move to Forest Lodge would be wise. Otherwise the camera lens will keep finding the wrong front door. Finally, the constitutional point. Parliament's involvement, even at the level of debate, is a warning light. The Crown's residue of discretion in private matters exists because the public believes it is exercised prudently. If that belief fractures, Parliament will fill the vacuum. The best way to avoid that is to be visibly tougher. One property at market rent, if any, no public subsidy, and a clean break with the shared living arrangements that have propped up the happiest divorced couple narrative for years. So, yes, it is a bit rich to expect the king to house them both. The monarchy's task is simpler and harder, to reduce the risk that private choices contaminate the public compact. One house at most, on commercial terms, away from Windsor's centre of gravity, and an end to this theatrical brinkmanship by this second-rate, distasteful couple. Anything else will look like the same old story with smaller floor plans.